Oh, slept, eat dirt, my G's. Sorry about that. Hope you're all doing good. Today we've got a special video for you guys. Oh, the camera's up there. Because I'm going to be unleashing the track breakdown of Tell You by Sun. He has done an amazing track breakdown for all of us to learn a little bit about his production technique. As you can see, I'm currently still in my little hostel. I'm here in Brunei. I actually was fortunate enough to play a little show here, which was crazy, a few days ago. And yeah, still a bit tired from then, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, wanted to also apologise that I haven't uploaded as frequently as I usually do. Just been so busy with not only travelling, but also teaching and doing label stuff and building preset packs and all kinds of things. But I'll try to get a video up at least once a week for you guys. But yeah, before we get into today's video, which Sun has recorded for us, which is amazing, I just want to give you a little chance to perhaps support the label if you want to. You don't have to do it monetarily. Of course, all of our releases are on Bandcamp. You can find those like in the SoundCloud links. But even without monetary support, it means a lot to us if you can give us a follow if you haven't already on SoundCloud over here at Artificial Music. It's really, really helpful if you can do that. Please excuse my pants hanging up in the background and all kinds of just the meat. Don't worry about the mise en scène. Follow the label on SoundCloud if you can, and also if you are able to do that on Instagram as well, that'd also be amazing. The goal is to really try and get both of the SoundCloud and Instagram up to 1,000 this year, hopefully. I wanted to do that last year already, but the progress on building the platforms has been slow. However, the reception has been really, really excellent on all our releases, and I know that you guys really enjoyed the new Sun release. Anyway, thank you a lot if you're able to do that. I'm going to stop talking now, hand over to Sun. He hasn't included his face on the video because he's very handsome, and he didn't want to intimidate you guys, so it's a faceless tutorial today, but I'm sure you guys will enjoy it and learn a lot from it. And little backstory, by the way, not to discredit Sun at all, but during lockdown he was actually a former student of mine, and he always had a great natural talent, and it was just through booking some lessons with me consistently that he quickly sort of unlocked his creative process and went on to sign tracks with Hospital Records and all kinds of crazy stuff. But now he's rocking it, he's got his own style and we love him. And anyway, here is Sun with the Tell You track breakdown. Let's go.
Yes, how's it going? This is Sun, and I'm here to give you a little breakdown of my latest single, Tell You, which is out now on Artificial Music. Let's start by just having a quick listen to the intro 16 and drop, and then we'll do a little walkthrough. Sweet. So the whole track is kind of based around that vocal that you hear running through it, the little chopped up vocal, which is this bad boy. Which, as you might be able to tell from the name here, is a current patch. At the time of making this tune, I just discovered current, and I thought you're just looking for some inspiration, and I was just flicking through some presets and came across this one called Talk No More. And to be honest, the whole track started there. I just really liked the sound of it. I thought that will spark some ideas and wrote the bass line from there. So on the intro of the track, let's see. It starts off filtered. There's a lot going on here that probably doesn't even need to be here, to be honest, but we got multiple auto filters doing very similar things, but this one here, if we look at the automation, is what's filtering it in. And I'm also filtering in the low end. And then that little snap there, so there's a macro on this current patch, which is macro for which is called space. So what that's doing is you can hear it sounds like it's got loads of reverb and space. And there it just snaps off, so it's like nice and punchy down the middle for that sort of pre-drop sort of build. And then as I was kind of making the track, I ended up just creating a new layer here, new track here. We're not in Photoshop. A new layer, and it's the exact same patch. The only difference here is I'm adjusting macro 1 as well, which is grain size. So there you go. It's that sort of granular synthesis sort of sound. And it's a lovely shape, that. Yeah, even just by turning it up here, it starts to make that choppy sound. So I just kind of automated it to make it sound different, have different moments, and then there's still that one with the space, but it's happening at the end of the 16, 8 bar even. It just snaps back in. And then, yeah, for the MIDI, I've just kind of done like, I think it's just like an octave down at the end of the 8 bar. And then, yeah, processing on that, it's just a bit of slide chain from the kick, little bit of crazy EQ there. Oh, some compression just to sort of like, when it got here, it was a little bit spiky now and again, just kind of kept poking through it too much, so I put a bit of compression on there. It got soothed, just taking off a little bit of the harshness as well. And, oh yeah, here we go, a nice little mid-side EQ. So this is taking out some of the side information in the middle because you might be able to hear it actually. When it says tell on that little bit there, it sounds like it's just got a little bit too much, like, I don't know. Pull it back. And then a bit of de-esser just to take off the edge of the word tell again. That T there is quite harsh. So anyway, that's kind of like the main idea that runs through the whole track there. And then, yeah, another one here doing the same thing, just with that macro turned all the way up. Macro 4, so it kind of like feels like it's swelling in. Yeah, so from there I wrote the bass line, and the bass line was, yeah, just made in Serum here. I'm having to get to grips of this project now. So let's solo the bass line actually. So it is a Serum patch. There's two of them doing the thing here. Let's look at the first one, which I've named Fat Reese. Yeah, if we just loop this bit here. Yeah, so it's just basically two saw waves, detuned. It's a Reese essentially. If I take the filter off, oh, not even with the filter off. Tell you what. Let's This is what I hate in tutorials when people faff around, but I'm going to do some faffing now. Let's take off all the processing, and then we can bring it all back on. There you go. So it's two, it's four unison, I guess, between the two of them. I don't know how that works, but some distortion here as well. And a noise layer that's distorting into it, which then, ironically, I've then chucked a filter on to create that sort of sound. And I think, actually, hold on, I think there's, yeah, a bit, it's mono and legato, so it's got like the glide between the notes. That's where I started. I thought that sounded pretty cool. And then that with the vocal. Just felt good when I was writing it, so yeah, we start there. There's a bit of compression, obviously, for the kick to make space for that kick drum. EQ, this is obviously just the EQ that sounded right to me at the time. Getting rid of some of that, what's that there? Like 250. Like tends to be like the muddy sort of area. OTT. Just giving it a little slam. And then this is kind of what I played around with at first, which I I think also brought the bass to life quite a lot was this reverb, which I'm automating the mix and the decay. So yeah, kind of without it, it's like this. Then with. Just creates like a lot of space in there. So that was fun. I was kind of automating that. Then we got another EQ, which is just getting rid of even more of that muddy frequency apparently. Which is then put into another auto filter, which is really taking a lot of the highs off. Which is kind of funny really, because if you think about it, like, it's just got rid of a lot of the work that I put in, but I mean, it was just more in the process of doing it. This is what felt right at the time to sort of make it fit in the track. Another EQ there, which is just taking out the side information and the lows. Then on top of that is a duplicated patch. I'm almost certain this is exactly the same. Yeah, it's the exact same. This one, however, sounds like this. So yeah, I was using this more as like a side sort of like a fill layer, sorry, to like kind of fill it all out without all of the stuff on. It's just the same patch. We've got the compressor doing the sidechain, EQ. So this EQ is taking out all that low end because I didn't want it to muddy up that, but I guess here in like the sort of mid to high sort of range coming through there. OTT again to slam it, and this is where it comes alive. It's this doubler. Makes it really wide. So I was just like, I wanted to just add some width to the bass, basically. Saturn here, which is doing some... What is this doing? Some saturation of some sort. Hardly ever use Saturn, actually. And we got just a Valhalla doing a little bit of reverb. Another EQ here, taking out a lot of the mids, so it kind of pushes the side information, so it has that width again. But once again, it's obviously like completely gone underneath this autofilter. So this autofilter kind of changes throughout, so it opens up a little bit more at different points. So in the second 16, it's a little bit wider, and then it's wider again for like the little high note there. So yeah, you can see it kind of changes throughout. So yeah, it's kind of like, I guess without the autofilter, actually, it's quite a different bass sound, but it was just more how it fit in the track. So there's that. There's also at the end of the, sort of towards the end of the 8 bars, there's this bass sound. So this is kind of how it sounds. So I just wanted to have something else that just switches up there. So as you can see, it's the same preset, but I think what I've done here is I've changed the waveforms. It's changed the waveforms, still got the noise, still got the filter, still got the distortion like maxed out. So yeah, it basically just created a different bass sound for me, really. Again, side chained, got some reverb, yeah, and then I've used this EQ8 to take off the high end again. As I'm hearing it with high end, I'm like, I don't know why the hell I did that. Sounds cool. Yeah, so then obviously now we've got rid of all this high end, and I wanted it to cut through the mix. This is where my sort of noise layer comes in. And that, yeah, so that noise layer is made, well, let me show you actually with the, so without it, it's this. So it really brings it out, gives it a bit more clarity. So the way I've done this, don't know why this is in an instrument rack, but I've got a sub here, which is just a sine wave, which you're not gonna be able to hear because of all this processing. But basically, the sine wave and this layer here, which is just white noise, are being processed together. So the sine wave's considerably louder than the white noise, and I've got this saturate here. Let me just turn it on and off. So that's what it sounds like without it. And this is with the saturator. So it creates that like crunchy noise. Then you get rid of all the lows. Then you're just left with the white noise. Then I added auto pan to make it wobble, and I did the doubler again to push it to the sides. So yeah. So that's the bass. That's the bass, and then yeah, obviously here with that second bass, without it, makes a big difference. So that's kind of, that is not just kind of, it is the bass sound. Yeah. All right. Moving on. So I guess probably next really was drums. So let's have a little look at the drums before we go to the other instrumentation. I feel like that's always the thing that people are interested in. I had a quick look actually at this project before doing this, and what I realized is that there's actually no processing on the drums, other than like a little bit of reverb, which I think is actually automated. I mean, I could be wrong here. Yeah, so the mix is actually automated, just the end of like the sort of little sections, and some clipping. Otherwise, normally I would actually process the drums pretty heavily, and I haven't this time. So I guess it's kind of interesting to hear, well, just to see a slightly different way of doing it, which even I'm sort of intrigued by now that I'm looking back at this project. But yeah, this break started with, there's this Polar and Bryson pack, which is just amazing, to be quite honest. I feel like I'm hearing it being used all the time by different producers, but I started with, let's have a look if I can find it, this break here, which is this part, which I then chopped up because I didn't want to have that on its own. And there's this another Polar and Bryson break here, which is this one. So, oh, sorry, I'll tell you what, I'll just give you a little solo of the drums first. So yeah, you've got these two Polar and Bryson breaks, which are kind of carrying the whole thing, really. Just love that shuffly sort of, yeah, hi-hat, sort of ghost snare style thing. So yeah, you got this, which is one of the kicks. Got a snare from that. So that's from this one. They're quite low in the mix because I didn't want to basically make it sound like I just stole a drum break, which there's no harm in that, but I just wanted to make it a bit more my own. So there's this snare on top, which actually originally it was this snare here, which was this, which was taken from this break, I think, actually. Yeah, or something like that. And then I switched it out for my... It changes the sound a bit, actually, and I think I prefer how it turned out, which is nice, because often once you put a drum break in, I find it hard to then change because I feel like I've got too used to it, if that makes sense. And then yeah, there's this think break on top here, which actually without that, that adds a lot of energy in the high end. Just really fills it out nicely. And then looking at processing, I mean, there's really not much processing. A little bit. Oh, so I've got this extra kick here, which I've taken a bit of the low end out, just sort of mixing things. There's this kick, which I've done a similar thing to. There's the snare, which I've done nothing to. There's this other snare I've done nothing to. There's the hats, which I've just clipped a little bit and added a little bit of soothe on just to take a bit of the harshness out of the high end. And then this think break's actually had quite a lot done to it. It's really pushed back in the mix, but I've got this utility here ducking the snare. I have this compressor doing absolutely nothing, so that's good. Bit of surgical EQ here to get rid of some of the harshness in the high end. Transient shaper, just tightening it up. More EQ to then bring back out the high end, I guess, and take down some of the mids. Apparently, I guess to push it to the side. And then some clipping directly on that as well. I was fine with those like slightly harsher sounds that helps to clip, and then some soothe to just like, yeah, take out the harshness. yeah, and then a little bit later on in the track, it's just like a shaker and it comes in, which is just a nice way to just to like kind of make it feel like a different section. I've got these. I don't know where it is actually. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so we've got a little fill. Quite like that. It's probably just from Splice, to be quite honest. But I just like how it feels like it's sort of tripping up almost into the next part. And then yeah, like with the all I seem to have done actually on the drum group is automate the reverb. Again, making sure to sort of low cut at around 700, or I guess 500 and above, really, just to make sure it's not like muddying into the low end. So that is the drums. They're quite simple, really, but I feel like that's where the whole track started. It was just like that vocal, the bass, and the drums, and then it was just a matter of sort of filling things out. Yeah. So I mean, where do we go now? Well, you can see it says current here a couple of times, which shows that I was getting excited with current. So on the intro, you can hear I've got the vocal, which is sort of slowly coming in, and then you got this current here, which is kind of like this cool pulsy sound, which again I've like just controlled with a bit of compression and a bit of soothe just to take the harshness out. And then there's another current here, doing that nice sound. So I've got a utility on here, so at these points I think it just cuts it dead. Yeah, I wanted that like sort of like as if something's opening and then shutting really quickly. And then just a bit of low end taken out of that. Then I've got this sound here, which honestly is probably from current as well. This is like, I should have just called this track current, shouldn't I, really? Bit low end taken out of that. Compression for sidechain for the kick. Bit of compression again. Yeah, this one without that, it just felt like there's that little middle bit there where you see it sort of peak that just felt like it was just getting a bit unruly. And some soothe again. And then again, to fill out the intro, I've got these nice like, these little like quite soft stabby style things that kind of tail off. I've done nothing to that. I've literally just taken that from current and put it into the project. And here we go again. It's current. Who would have thought? Once again, another sound that I've just literally put straight in without any effects on it. I mean, look, I don't know if this is the right way to produce, but it seems to have worked somewhat on this track. At least I've done some processing here. Anyway, so that's the sort of the atmospheres that are in the track. And then they kind of just come back in and out again throughout the track. So this is obviously the first 16 drop, and then that sound comes back in. And then you've got this like sort of noise again at the end of the 16. That's quite nice. One thing I forgot to talk about actually is these samples again at the end of the, I don't know how many that's 4 bars here. You know, and then there's this. It's quite like the sort of dynamics of how it feels like it's quiet, then louder and quieter, you know, really all of a sudden. And then sort of wrap it off, we've got some effects and things down here. So white noise. In fact, a lot of white noise. So that's white noise. This white noise. Another white noise here. This white noise build-up. Cymbal. And then probably more white noise. Yeah, you better bloody believe it. Don't know what this is here. Let's have a listen. I mean, you can hardly even hear that in the mix, but apparently I decided to... I think I made this. I was just messing around. I thought, that's going in. I've spent so much time on it. Yeah, and then actually this is quite a nice thing. This is something I tend to do on a lot of tracks. In fact, the way this track's been written and made is actually very different to how I do tracks normally. Which is kind of nice, but this here is this sort of like this sort of drone synthy paddy sub sort of thing, which comes in, which fills out the space really nicely. This is in Quanta, so what I do a lot actually is I'm quite scientific when it comes to making music. What I mean by that is I'm not a musician, so I don't really know chords and stuff, but I can obviously hear whether the things are in key or not. But I can't write without being a bit scientific and sort of taking things from other areas and all that sort of stuff. And so one of the ways I like to try and like reuse sounds and not basically just be taking a pad and chucking it in and resampling is by using Quanta. So I don't know if I'll be able to. Would I be able to find this file? Probably not. I've just changed the whole sound. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's this pad that I found. I really loved it, and I chucked it into Quanta, and you can mess around with the grains here to see how much. Well, I'll just play it and have a little mess around. You'll see. So, like with Quanta, it's a granular synthesis. So if I turn up the random and the length, it starts to make it almost back into a pad. And then you could automate the position, automate the length, all sort of stuff. But I tend to like to use it as like, if I find something I like, I can then take like almost a part of that, and this almost like makes a whole new sound with it. So that's what I've done there, and this is nice because it's got a little bit of low end, or at least it did on the bit that I had before I've just messed around with it, which kind of acted as like a Reese sound pre-drop, which is really nice. But yeah, that's something I tend to do on a lot of tracks, to do atmospheres and pads and stuff instead of just like just kind of pulling something in from Splice or wherever you're getting your samples, just to make it a little bit more unique and unrecognizable, which is kind of nice. So yeah, that's the track breakdown for Tell You. Hopefully it's been helpful in some way, seeing the breakdown. And honestly, it's a different way to how I'd normally work in terms of the way I process the drums and wrote the stuff. And I honestly don't use Current as much as you've seen here normally, but apparently I did for this one. But yeah, Tell You's out now on Artificial Music. You can go and listen to it in all the usual places. Thanks for listening. See you again soon.
Well, my G's, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and learned something about Sun's workflow. And big shout out to Sun as well for doing this tutorial for all of us. Final plug just before I let you guys go. Sorry again to be a bit salesy, but it's part of my job. So if you like the track as well, make sure you grab a copy on Bandcamp. You can check out all of our label releases on here. It's the main platform we have for the catalogue of music. Obviously you can stream it all on SoundCloud and Spotify, but if you really want like the high quality WAV and you want to show some support, grab a couple of tracks on Bandcamp if you like. Really appreciate it. And also, if you guys haven't joined my Patreon yet, you can actually join for free as a free member. And what that will do is that will get you access to all of the updates with regards to the label, other stuff as well, bits and pieces. Most of the posts on there I do update wise are sort of free to view. So yeah, you'll be informed of like competitions and things happening. And we've got something exciting coming up in that respect soon. So yeah, it's a great way that you can always be kept in the loop if you join Patreon as a free member. If you want to pay to join and join more and get in our Discord, that's also obviously excellent. We have a great Discord community with daily chats and feedbacks and things like that. But either way, get on there for free. There's no harm in doing that, and you'll be kept in the loop on all the cool stuff we've got going on this year. All right, anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the track and the breakdown. Big shout out to Sun once again. I will chat to you guys very soon. More from me then. Take care, much love.